this new Ren album, yeah, this is pretty solid. Look, Ren is a British R&B slash rapper. R&B artist slash rapper, sorry. And he doesn't knock it out of the water with this one, but he doesn't, like, belly flop, if you know what I mean. Here's the thing, right? I think Ren is a perfectly good rapper, and I think he has some perfectly good morals, and some perfectly good political beliefs, and some perfectly good lines, and some perfectly good this and that, and but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to analyze the music. So, well, not really analyze, just say what I think. So, what do I think about this? When Ren leads into that R&B side, he usually doesn't work as well. There's only really one instance where I enjoy the R&B stuff, and that's on the second track on the album, Dies Pain, which features his vocals straining to stay with the soprano that he's trying to pull off, but it has some pretty damn good production, and it's pretty catchy, so I like it. I don't know. There's a couple of songs that I didn't really like. Love Music Part 3 annoys me to all hell. Life is Funny is the weird step cousin to Gucci Gang. But other than those two songs, I like everything else on this album. I think everything else is pretty solid. I think Depression and Insomnia, the last two tracks, both embody an emotional coast pretty well. I think especially Insomnia does, where he's near tears in the first verse, and the entire idea of it is that he hates insomnia because he can't sleep, and sleep is the only escape to his thoughts. And if he can't sleep, he's forced to face his thoughts, and he doesn't want to do that. And Depression is, while some questionable rhyme schemes, he rhymed better with better, rhymed golden with golden a lot. The message is still there. Therapy never worked for him. Also, there's a line that's like talking about what he would talk about in therapy. So it goes, therapy, comma, wet dream, comma, dad dead, comma, best friends, something. And like, but it comes off as therapy, wet dream. So like, without the comma, so it sounds pretty weird. I had to look it up to make sure. But he goes into this sort of psychedelic thing of how his mind always wants to go to the golden age, where he didn't worry, where he had no problems. And before realizing that the golden age never existed, he always had issues, he always had problems. He just figured out how to steer away from them. And that's what the embodiment of this album is that every song has problems with it, but most of the time I can figure out how to get away from them. For example, Penitence, which is about a breakup, is a piano ballad that leads into a nice guitar in the second verse. However, I don't really like Molly McKenna voice. That's a pretty prominent thing in the song. Or Ocean, for example, featuring Eden Nash. I don't like the backing vocals on the verses when Ren is like, there'll be no peace, and then they're like, peace. Like, it doesn't sound good, in my opinion. Or Ready for You, where it has one of my favorite sort of production choices, where we get some strings into it, and that he's at the end of the first verse, he goes, nothing stays the same, and then on the word same, the vocals change. I thought that was pretty nifty. However, I think this is supposed to be anthemic, but I'm not quite sure, and that's an issue for me, because usually an anthem is very sure it's an anthem. Like, for example, Blink-182's Anthem, literally named Anthem, is entirely sure of itself, and it's confident that it's an anthem. This, I think, is leaning towards Anthem, but doesn't directly, like, try to be one, just in case people are like, oh, this doesn't really, you know, make me think about stuff. And he's like, oh, it wasn't supposed to. Like, it's not there, you know? But I think the magnum opus of this album is the opening track, Money Game Part 2. And I love this song. The first verse is pretty good. I like the rhyme scheme on, like, the whole die in a fire, and then it's like, oh, come on, don't be stressed and I'd be blessed, and I'm a peaceful adolescent. It's like that, and then I think the second verse especially is insanely well crafted with the nursery rhyme thing, where it's like, she sells seashells on the seashore, but the value of these shells will fall, and due to the laws of supply and demand, no one wants to buy shells because there's loads on stand set one. Like, it's insanely good. If there's one track you're gonna listen to off this, it's Money Game Part 2. But overall, as a whole body of work, I'm thinking that this is gonna be, I mean, a decent 7 is probably what I'd give this. I'd give it a good listen just to sort of see how British rap can be done right. This is certainly better than that KSI album. This is certainly better than most things I've listened to in July. However, I think this is not going to be Album of the Year contender. Money Game Part 2 might be up in my songs of the year, but there's still an issue with Money Game Part 2, and it's the chorus, where it's like, I don't like the way he's straining himself there. It doesn't feel like it was necessary. But decent 7. I'd give it a good listen. Have fun with it. Have fun with life. Have a good evening. Have a good day. Have a good week. Have a good whatever. Whatever you're doing, make it good. Unless it's murder. Make it sloppy. I apologize. Alright, peace.